Well, first I'd like to congratulate South Carolina. They have a new coaching staff, and they got off to a very slow start, and they kicked it into gear, and they were as good as anybody around down the stretch. And they got those guys rolling. And when I saw that, that the regional that they were in was matched up with ours, you try not to look there because we got to take care of our own business. But I knew that they were going to win that regional, and I knew that if we won, we'd face them. And sure enough, there they were. And whenever you play a team 7 times, I just knew it was going to be really difficult to beat them 2 out of 3. It's just the way the game works when teams are both good. And but hats off to them on a extremely strong finish, and I'm sure that they'll be sitting where we're sitting here down the road. But just can't tell you how proud I am of our team. This season has been a grind, and there's been a lot of expectation, which probably they feel as much as the coaching staff does, and they've handled it every day. They've come and worked extremely hard, and they kind of showed you what they were made of tonight because they took all the drama out of that game, which I really appreciate. I'll guarantee you that. And couldn't be prouder. Just excited for them. I'm excited for my coaches, all of our staff. They haven't been to Omaha. I've been to Omaha. Omaha's incredible. And I'm just so happy that some others that I'm around every day get to experience it.
All right, we'll take questions from the student athletes. Raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. Start with Kurt.
Carson, I guess along the lines of those expectations, what are you feeling? Just pure excitement, or is there an element of relief at this point?
It's just pure excitement right now. I think that we've handled the expectations very well. This is a really tough team. We understand how talented we are, and we kind of like the expectation. It makes us play better. So just right now, it's just pure excitement. I'm so happy for my brothers, and everybody's getting to experience this like I did my freshman year.
Grant.
Eric, you got this offense off to a start. I think you scored 5 runs today. What was the atmosphere around the team like today? People were saying you all were uptight, stuff like that. What was it like going into the game?
I mean, it was just a group of guys who were really determined, really talented, and kind of all fighting for the same thing. Their pitcher last night threw a heck of a game, and we tip our cap to him. But we came out today and kind of knew we were in the driver's seat with their best reliever throwing 40 or 50 pitches on game 1. So we knew it was kind of up to us, and we knew Isaiah was going to get us 4 or 5, however much we needed. And I think that's just kind of a sign of a mature team coming out with the same focus for basically all season for tonight.
Scotty.
Luke, with so much on the line tonight, what did it mean to you to have a night like you did?
Yeah, it was a big relief for me because I didn't have that great of a night last night. They were throwing me away all series long. I was pulling off the ball, trying to do too much probably, and just stuck with a good approach and was able to put some good swings on it and help my team win.
Tom.
Questions for Luke. The mentality you took into the game, Eric just kind of pointed out that they used their closer last night and just wanting to jump out fast. Can you talk about the mentality you brought to the game? And in the Carson, if you could talk about the home run pitch and closing out the big first inning that way.
Yeah, game 3's winner take all. Anything can happen. You guys saw what happened last year. We thought last year both teams had no pitching, and it was a 3-2 ball game. So you never really know what you are going to get. But we have a pretty old team with some really good young guys, and everyone, kept their composure and didn't panic when something happened and just kept on trucking.
Just on the home run, I really wasn't trying to do anything too much. I think we had 2 outs in the inning or when it happened, or 1. And I was just trying to put the bat on the ball and just trying to see the ball up. And I think the baseball gods were on my side tonight.
For Luke and Carson, just seeing the ovation the crowd gave you guys in your last at-bats, what's it mean to exit and finish your Baum Stadium careers that way?
Yeah, it was pretty special. It was hard to, not get choked up. This has been the best 4 years of my life, at this stadium, these fans. I just, really have to thank, Coach Van Horn for letting me come here and play for him and experience this because it was a dream.
Yeah, along the same lines. You know, I have a routine that I go through, and I had to actually kind of step back out of it because I was starting to choke up a little bit. So I took that extra swing and got myself right. But just like Luke said, Coach, I'm so thankful for you letting me walk on here. I really appreciate it so much. It's been the best 4 years of my life.
You earned that scholarship you got too, I'll tell you that.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Gentlemen, thank you very much.
All right. Good job, fellas.
All right, same thing with Coach Van Horn. Raise your hand. We'll get him back to you. We'll start with Kurt.
Taken some really good teams to Omaha in the past. Is this the best one you've had?
Yeah, that's hard to say. You know, I mean, it's really about how are you playing at the time. This is just a team it's very balanced. I remember a couple of the teams I took in Nebraska. One of them was really good. One of them overachieved, and we got there again because we kind of knew how. We learned how the year before. The 04 team was a team when we got to Omaha, we were done. We gave everything we could to get out of here. We were picked 11th in the league that year, and there were only 12 teams. And we went to Omaha, it didn't go very good because we couldn't hit field pitch back then. We were done. But we did it. You know, we opened the door. That 04 team opened the door for the future. The 09 team, that team could really hit. Had a pretty good pitcher named Dallas Keuchel, but he wasn't as good as he's turned out to be, you know, over the past 4 or 5 years with the Astros. Drew Smiley was a youngster on that team, but we just didn't have enough depth in the pitching staff. But we could hit with people. We just couldn't stop them too much. And I think about the 12 team could flat out pitch, and that 12 team got eliminated by South Carolina. We got to the winners. We were one game away from getting to the championship series, and we lost 3-2 and 3-1, and we just couldn't score. And that was tough. And from that time on, we said we got to be more balanced. We got to get hitters. We got to have enough pitching. And this team is a little more balanced. You know, you just hope that your pitchers got a little more in them, you know, to finish this thing up and go another time or two. So, I mean, to answer your question, I'm pretty much tap dancing around is I don't know. It's a good team. It's got a chance.
With your history at this school and back to your days being here as a player and everything, what would it mean for you to bring a national title to the school, not just for you personally, but for Coach DeBryan, for everybody?
For everybody. It wouldn't be about me. It would be about all the players that have come through here. It'd be for Coach DeBryan that coached here, and when they first joined the Southwest Conference, they had to play at the fairgrounds over here, and you know the powers of the league would come up here and make fun of them and laugh at them with their facilities, and he endured all that. It would be big, real big.
Dave, after last night, what was the mentality you felt like the team came into this game with, and what would be the deciding factors?
Well, what I said to him last night after the game was, hey, it's not life or death. It's, I gave him a little bit of a little 2-minute speech about pressure and what I feel pressure is, and there's no pressure on them. And the gist of it was pressure's when you got 2 kids, a mortgage, a car payment, and you got to go home and tell your wife you just lost your job. I told them that's pressure. This is nothing. This is fun. You know, just to take the edge off, just so they were lax a little bit. And we could tell walking through the locker room. Coach Johnson and I, we talked about it before the game. Says we really like where the guys are at, and it was like they were loose, but they were being quiet. It's hard to explain it. I think I've tried to explain this before. But that's what I felt. I just felt like, man, these guys are locked in. And Eric Cole was locked in tonight, and he got us rolling. But it was just a good feeling when we stepped on the field, just looking down at the bench and just seeing where everybody was at. You could just tell that these guys were here and they meant business.
Coach, just something you said about South Carolina, I guess, how did they change over the 7 times you played them this year, and how did they grow and get better?
Well, you know, the first time we played them, it was rainy and cool, and the wind was howling straight out to left field. And you know, the first game they beat us 3-2, and we didn't see them. We didn't see the South Carolina that we saw after they left here, and you're watching them on TV, and they're going and winning, and they're sweeping people, and they're winning series on the road. I think they won 4 or 5 series in a row. When we saw them up there in the tournament, they just seemed a lot more confident, and their lineup to me was a little scary. And, you know, I sit out and watch batting practice. Some of the team, they have a routine. We hit first when their team, I usually stay down and watch. They were lighting it up this weekend here. I mean, you saw how many home runs they hit against us. Well, I'm surprised they didn't ask us for more baseballs because they were running out of them. They were hitting so many balls out of the park in BP. And, you know, they started 5 seniors, I think. They have a very old team, and they had a team that had a lot of what I call just want to, man. Them guys wanted to win. And they knew it was the end of their careers or they're going into pro ball or whatever. And those teams are dangerous. And that's what I saw, just a team that really, really played hard. And give Mark and his staff credit. And I told him that after the game, man, you got them going. And you guys you did a great job.
You put up a lot of big numbers, a lot of big innings this season, but there's a lot of guys with high averages this season. What is it about this team that has the ability to string together hits, and obviously talk about the school record for home runs in a season?
Well, I think the offense, you know, Coach Johnson's done a tremendous job with our offense. And I told him when I was trying to hire him about this time last year when they got eliminated in their super regional this weekend 1 year ago. I think I talked to him. Today's Monday. I probably talked to him on Tuesday. And I said, you know, if you decide that to come here, you're gonna inherit a good team of hitters, and we got a couple pretty good ones coming in. Now, at the time, we didn't know that Heston Kerstad was going to do what he was going to do, or Martin, obviously, but we felt like we had a couple young guys that were going to help us, and I think he's taken them to another level. He teaches a little bit, a lot of the drill work and different things, a little leverage and getting on that backside a little bit. Get the ball in the air, and it's helped get the ball out of the park because we're physical, you know. I got a new strength coach this year, Blaine Kinsley, that I just told him how much I appreciated him 2 minutes ago, that he elevated our team physically and mentally. And, you know, guys didn't get hurt, but they got stronger, and that's a good thing. We weren't pulling muscles because we're big and tight, and I just think he did a tremendous job. And it just all kind of came together, you know, and Coach Johnson's an outstanding coach. I mean, I could go on and on. But the home runs and the offense, it's hard to predict that. But we did see in the fall one of two things. Either we can't pitch or we can really hit, because we hit our pitchers pretty good. And we felt like we could pitch a little bit. So we felt good about the offense.
Campbell did coming off a struggling start. And also, were you surprised to get as much out of Losky after 3 innings just 2 days ago?
Yeah, first off, I thought Campbell did a tremendous job. You know, he goes out and I think the first hitter of the game, he throws a couple of balls, and you can hear people start to moan and groan a little bit and get a little irritated. And he bounced right back and got through that first inning, threw the ball well. You know, he throws the ball, it looks effortless. And you look on the board and it's 94, and you're going, look like he threw it 87. But when the ball comes out of his hand right, it jumps out of his hand and it moves. And you know, that's all we were hoping for. You know, we told him, you're going out there with a closer mentality. If you go 1, 2, 3 innings, don't hold anything back. Just when it's time to get you, we're going to come and get you. And I think he listened and he did it. And just proud of him for, you know, being thick-skinned and tough and taking what happened last week and turning it into a positive. And he helped us get to Omaha. And just proud of him for being mature enough to handle that without being upset at me or anybody else, and just going out and working. And when he got the ball, he did his job.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, and Losky, you know, we were hoping maybe 2 innings out of Losky. You know, Losky wasn't real happy with me when I went out there to get the ball. So I had to tell him, explain it to him that he threw 40 pitches the other day. He had just thrown 41 more. And I basically said, if all things go right, you're going to get to pitch again. And we need you to be healthy. And I don't think he smiled, and he gave me the ball and he left. So, you know, I'd rather have it that way than them running down the hill giving me the ball, to be honest with you.
Dave, there's been so much talk about your schedule this year, and you just played a team 3 times that you'd played earlier, and now your quadrant in Omaha is Florida, Texas, and Texas Tech. I wonder, what do you think about running into all these teams again, and maybe what are your thoughts about those 3 teams that you could potentially see there?
Well, I think that there won't be any surprises. Number one, we played Texas a couple of times, watched them on TV a couple of times, and obviously seen Florida play. Played Florida 3 times. I guess they won. Is that what you're telling me? Wow. And yeah, I mean it's a tough league, but who's the other team in our bracket? I was pretty focused on our game. Texas Tech. They're pretty good too. So we played them. We kind of caught them after a series. They flew in. We played them. We got rained out. They went home. They're awfully good. Yeah, they're big, and the fans that came to the game saw them. They're an SEC looking team, and so's Texas. So our bracket is about as tough as it gets.
Coach, do you see Luke starting to get into a groove now, and what did you make of his night?
Luke has a very good approach, or kind of I call him the professional approach. He doesn't try to pull the ball. Luke could probably hit 15, 18 home runs and hit 220. He's hitting 300 and he's driving in enough runs, and he battles and sees a lot of pitches and bothers pitchers. He's been a little up and down, but yeah, he had a great night tonight. Last night was not good. Saturday night was pretty good. I just think Luke shows up with the same mindset every day, and it's just blue collar. He comes to work and, he tries to stay through the middle. Yeah, I think he's, after tonight, I'd say he's hot. I'll go with you. He's hot. So we'll try to pump him up on that. But I see the same Luke every day, and, I think that's what his teammates see.
A couple of guys mentioned that they hadn't forgotten 2 years ago, and that y'all don't talk about it, but it's like understood where y'all were and where you are now.
You talking about that 1 year, that 2016 year? It was a beauty. I've never been a part of anything like it. We were pretty good early. We were very young. We didn't have enough pitching. Cody Scroggins is a pitcher for us, and he started at third base against LSU. What does that tell you? We got smoked by the draft like I've never been crushed. And after 15, we go to the World Series, we lose everybody. I'm trying to play Clark Egan in the infield. He's an outfielder. It was nuts. And now you've brought me back to that place again. But sometimes you have to go through that, and we bounced back the next year in 17 and had a really good year. We had a good year. No, you're not really good. A good year. And it was hard. We learned from it, and we couldn't get out of our own way the last 13 games. Whatever, we blew 8-1 lead in front of 12,000 people from the fifth inning on. It was hard to watch. But it's like I told the coaches we just need to keep our mouths shut and not point fingers at each other, and we're going to overcome this one day. And that's what we did.
Any more questions for Coach Van Horn? One more, right here, Matt.
Hey, Dave, I think you may have touched on this before I came in, but your last 4 World Series have been in 3-year intervals. Is there any common denominator that you've seen between those teams?
We just tell every class that comes in here, hopefully before you leave here, you'll play in Omaha. It is so hard to get to Omaha. Did anybody stay up and watch those 2 games last night? Those teams were fighting their guts out. Unbelievable. I was trying to go to sleep. Actually did fall asleep for about, ask Karen, 5 seconds. And then somebody, and then I couldn't go to sleep after the games were over. Because it was just, I know the misery of being on both sides. The misery of being on one side, the how great it is to be on the other. But it's, I don't know, it's, if you can get there every 3 years, it's, unless you just run into an incredible couple of recruiting classes back to back and you get some older guys not to sign and come back for their senior year, or a guy like Andrew Benintendi, who signed after his sophomore year, to come back one more year. There's a couple of teams in our league that kept a lot of players in the draft, and believe me, I've been noticing it. And we're going to have to face them next year, and they're going to have 4 or 5 seniors, and they're already good programs, and then you throw in their recruiting class. It never stops. Recruiting never stops. Your mind never shuts off, but you just have to try to reload every year, and that's what we're going to try to do. It'd be nice to get back again next year, too.